Okay, for the asymmetrical and focal point project, you are going to be using a sheet of white Bristol board. You either have 11 by 14 that came in the pad that you purchased, or you have 14 by 17, in which you're going to have to basically just, if you have 14 by 17, you're going to have to trim it down to this size, which is 11 by 14. So the final piece is 11 by 14, and you're going to be using your black construction paper, okay? And then in your other construction paper package, you either had turquoise or green or light blue, but what I want you to use is I want you to use either the green or the turquoise that you have. I'm going to use the green just because in terms of value, because this is going to be kind of the introduction to value for the first time, because everything you've been using before has been black and white. So the first project was black and white, line was black, paper was white. Second project was black, high contrast shapes of black and white. And now you're introducing another value. And before, if we would have been at school, I had gray paper, but the gray paper does not come in the package that you bought. So you're going to have to find something equivalent to a gray, which would be just either your green or your turquoise that's in your package. So it's up to you which one you want to use, but don't do you're just going to want to do 3: black, white, and green, or black, white, and turquoise. So I'm going to use black, white, and green. And what I would do if I were you is just to start cutting up shapes out of your pieces of paper, and just kind of doing this kind of organically. And just remember, everything's going to be mounted on the white, so I would cut out the green and the blacks, okay? And you can either use scissors or your X-Acto knife or whatever. But you're just trying to make an interesting design that's going to have like some depth to it, and it's going to be abstract, and it's going to have a nice asymmetrical balance, so it's balanced throughout the whole piece, and it's going to have an understated focal point where you're going to draw the viewer's eye to one part of the piece, and then you're going to end up pasting all this down with your rubber cement. So as I'm just randomly kind of like experimenting with things that I'm doing here, just to see what starts happening when I lay out certain shapes. So what you're seeing, hopefully, is you're seeing that you're getting more depth than you had from your first 2 projects, because you've introduced this other value that's kind of like a neutral medium value, in contrast to the black and the white. So you can see that what I started doing is I just started cutting out shapes. I also started cutting through the black and the green, so the white comes through, cutting through the black, overlaying the black on top of the green, just playing around with just kind of dynamics of composition. So I would kind of think about it almost the same way you started doing when you were doing your first line studies, because you're trying to think about that same idea of designing competition and weight and balance and direction, and playing up positive and negative space, contrast, all those kinds of things. And you can just start getting to a point wherein, you just, when you're comfortable, and I just try to spend a good amount of time like really thinking about the layout and what starts happening and the overall kind of asymmetrical balance, and where you're going to put a focal point, and how you're going to do that. And in terms of how elaborate the design has to be, you can kind of reference what the examples are in the PDF that we looked at. But it's just, some people like things to be really, really detailed, and some people like things a little bit more minimal. But I do want you to really spend some time and not be arbitrary about your choices, because you want your design to be really interesting as a piece. And just know, what I would do is that you're going to be going through a lot of things, different variables in terms of layout and stuff. When you really like something, I would take a photo of it, okay? And then you can go back, because you might have some of the same pieces or something. But just take take progress photos of different designs that you like or different variables that you like, and then you'll be able to reference those when you start deciding on a final kind of layout in terms of what you end up doing. And then just remember that when you do end up with your finalized piece that you're comfortable with, you're going to again use your rubber cement to glue everything down, and that's going to take some time to really think about like what goes on top of what, and where like this green is going to have to go down first, and then these blacks will come on top of it. And know that you don't have to cut out any white, and that's why you have to be really kind of considerate in terms of thinking about those formal concerns about what starts happening when you bring out white in a certain area, when it starts coming through. So try to really think about how you can manipulate your black and then either your green or your turquoise, which whenever you choose, to really kind of make an interesting design. And I just did this as very rudimentary and basic. I'm just trying to show you how I got started and stuff like that.